This morning, I wanted to take a little bit of time to just share with you something that we believe that God's put on our hearts as elders, and something that we're going to be discussing at our next Committee of Management meeting, and that is that the possibility of bringing on a second paid ministry worker at Aura Church. There's a couple of key reasons why we think this is an important thing for us to consider. The first one is just the long-term sustainability of my ministry. Most of you will remember that a couple of months back I took a couple of weeks off just because really it just ran out of fuel. And part of the reason for that was connected to Dad's failing health. But a larger part of that was just that the last few years have just been really, really full on with launching Aura Church. People often joke that ministers have the best job in the world because they work one day a week. That's half right. We do have the best job in the world, but it's actually a really full-on job. There's a lot of work, a lot of pressure. The burnout rate for lots of pastors is actually really, really high. I love being your pastor. I really, really do. But as our congregation's grown, so is the workload. I don't know if you know this, but now if everyone decided to show up on 1 week, we're a congregation of 130 people now, which I really praise God for. We launched 3 years ago with 34 people, so God's been really, really good to us, which is wonderful, but with more people comes more work. And I've hit that point with 130, I'm thinking it's kind of hard to do things well with one person. So that's reason number one. Second reason we want to explore the idea of bringing on another ministry worker is that we want to be able to just keep on enthusiastically embracing gospel opportunities as God brings them our way. You all know that the population of Aura, it's exploding, going crazy. More and more families moving in all the time. A great percentage of those are young families with lots of kids, lots of teenagers. Compared to a whole lot of the coast, our child or youth to adult population is really, really high. That's one of the reasons we've started RI in the school here. That's one of the reasons we've appointed Chappie Anita that you've met before in the school here. It's the key reason we've actually started Aura Youth here on Friday nights, because we've got this massive youth population that we need to reach with the gospel. And for those of you who are part of the Aura Facebook community group, a lot of you would be, but one of the big problems in Aura you will have seen is just youth crime kind of going up and up. It's on the page all the time, different things going on. Many teenagers are affected by broken homes. Many teenagers have FIFO parents or shift working parents. Lots of teenagers are really bored. And so we've got this youth population going crazy that needs the gospel, that needs love shown to them, that need guidance, right on our doorstep. Literally, the skate park's there. You come past here any night of the week. There's kids everywhere. We've got this mission field on our doorstep. And right now, we've got this wonderful team of volunteers. We've got volunteer RI teachers from within our church and beyond. We've got some of you volunteering with the chaplain at the Brekkie program at the school. We've got a bunch of you volunteer on Friday nights to serve the youth group really, really well. But all those people are volunteers with limited time, limited training, limited capacity to keep doing more and more. And we've got a pastor who wants to do more, but he's limited too. His plate's full. And so we've got this growing mission field of youth on our doorstep, not to mention all the youth in our church. Doesn't look like it today, but there it can. And the elders would really love to just fully embrace all those gospel opportunities that God's giving us. And so bringing those two thoughts together, the need to make my ministry more sustainable, our desire to reach the youth of Aura, the elders believe that employing someone as a youth, young adults pastor, that would wonderfully address both of those needs. Such a person could do a lot of things, take over RI coordination, which I do at the moment, function as a backup RI teacher, take over my chaplaincy committee responsibilities, further cultivate relationship with the school and the programs there, take over leadership of Aura Youth, provide ongoing training for all our volunteers that are fantastic. That person would have time to invest in the youth in a way that volunteers simply can't. They could initiate new ways of just more effectively connecting with all the youth on our doorstep out there in the community. They could initiate holiday clubs, all sorts of things. They could develop pathways from kids' church into youth group, then into young adults groups. People often drop off in those transitions. Someone in this role could preach every fourth week. This is the thought in the same series, which just kind of frees me up for some other ministry work. They could come onto eldership as another elder. We need another elder. Really, there's lots and lots of benefits in terms of staffing someone into this sort of role. It would enable us to keep doing our youth ministry. It would enable us to do it even better. It would enable us to reach new people. Make my life ministry a little bit more sustainable as well. And so the elders think this would actually be really win-win-win. Big question, of course, you're all thinking is, how can we afford this sort of thing when we've only just hit viability as a church? It's a long answer, but we've had several conversations with some Christian grant organisations who are just passionate about helping staff churches with more workers so they can keep on doing gospel ministry. And between those grants, they're not a sure thing yet, but there's some positive conversations. Between grants, our growth trajectory, and some individuals who've said they'd like to contribute, we actually think financially it's quite likely we could make this work. And so right now, we just want you to be praying about this. Pray firstly that God will give the elders, the committee of management, a whole bunch of wisdom as we keep talking this through. Pray that God will open the doors for finances if this is his will, and that if it's not his will, that he'll close those doors. And pray for unity in the congregation just as we talk this stuff through, because obviously it's a big thing. And so we know that God, he owns the cattle on 1,000 hills. All money's his money. If he wants it to happen, he can make it happen. But yeah, just be in prayer as we think this through over the next little bit. If you've got any thoughts about this, any questions, come chat to me after. I'd love to talk more about what we're thinking. So I'm going to ask Rodney up. There you are. And Rodney's going to come and lead us in prayer together now.